of us, myself included, meat and poultry are at the forefront of our diets. In fact, on a global level, we consume close to 350 million tons of meat every year. But do you really know what's in the food you're eating? Antibiotics are a significant and controversial part of the global terrestrial food production system of meat and poultry, and pose an international human health threat due to antimicrobial resistance, also known as AMR. Antibiotics include a wide variety of chemical substances that are synthetically, naturally, and semi-synthetically produced. There are bacteriostatic antibiotics used to hinder bacterial growth, and bactericidal antibiotics used to kill bacteria. There is increasing scientific concern over the use of global agricultural antibiotics, as many of these are in the same class as antibiotics used for humans. Additionally, in certain countries, the amount of antibiotics given to food-producing animals are 4 times that of humans. Antibiotics were introduced to both agriculture and medicine in the 1930s. Their use in food production was initially viewed as progressive, as it increased agricultural productivity. Now, they are of infrastructural importance to many food production systems. Antibiotics are used in factory farms and concentrated animal feeding operations in an effort to decrease the threat of disease due to overcrowding, as these operations typically raise large amounts of livestock. Antibiotics are put in livestock feed for increased production. They have proven to increase the growth of animals and allow them to more efficiently gain weight. Animals that were fed antibiotics had about 5% more body weight than those not fed antibiotics. This is made possible as antibiotics are able to provide more available energy in the food for the animal by killing the bacteria in the guts of livestock. Antibiotics also prevent and treat diseases in animals, allow livestock to live longer, increase yields, reduce cost of labor, and have the ability to extend the shelf life for meat and poultry. These are all benefits from an economic perspective, as all of these can lead to increased profit. However, since the 1950s, antibiotics in food have been growing in conflict and concern about antimicrobial resistance and drug residues. Antimicrobial resistance is when germs no longer are affected by drugs designed and intended to kill them because they develop a resistance to them. This allows for the germs to continue to grow and leave public health vulnerable to illnesses. Drug residues are trace amounts of antibiotics left over due to them not being entirely absorbed after they are given to livestock. These 2 threats resulting from antibiotic use in food production are thought to be environmental pollutants and at fault for a public health crisis around the world. Bacteria found in animals, such as E. coli, can cause disease in humans as well. Oftentimes, this bacteria is antimicrobial resistant and has the ability to contaminate our food, starting from the farm to our plates. DNA fingerprinting has allowed scientists, like myself, to trace the resistant bacteria that cause human illness to an agricultural origin. Foodborne diseases are responsible for the death of over 400,000 people every year, most of them caused by microbes. It will no longer be possible to treat people with these foodborne illnesses, and deaths will only increase if the bacteria become resistant through the abuse of antibiotics in food-producing animals. This poses an extreme threat to public health, as it can cause many modern medicines to be ineffective, leading common illnesses to turn into deadly threats. This crisis is only growing. Antimicrobial resistance in the European Union causes about 25,000 deaths per year, over 38,000 deaths in Thailand per year, and over 23,000 deaths in the United States each year. Globally, as can be seen on this graph, antimicrobial resistance is responsible for about 700,000 deaths each year. This problem must be addressed and resolved as the global use of antibiotics are likely to exceed human consumption. Antibiotic consumption in agriculture is used in both developed and developing countries, being more prevalent, however, in developing countries as they are beneficial for the profit of farmers. These consumption levels are driven by the unregulated abuse and misuse of antibiotics in food production, especially as the demand for animal products increase and there's a shift to large-scale farming. A shift to large-scale farming means increased demand for antibiotics as they are beneficial for yield. It is projected that in Brazil, India, China, Russia, and South Africa, antibiotic consumption will double. It is also projected between 2010 and 2030 that countries of low and middle income are increasing in meat consumption, which will cause an increase of 69% of global agricultural antibiotics. Now, the simplest solution to this problem would be to reduce and properly regulate antibiotic use through international initiative. However, seeing as antibiotics are of infrastructural importance to many food production systems, this may prove difficult. The World Health Organization advises a reduction in the use of agricultural antibiotics in order to maintain the effectiveness of medicine. The World Health Organization recognizes that AMR does not have borders. Therefore, they have made an effort to address antimicrobial resistance through their approach known as One Health. One Health aims to decrease the spread of AMR through a holistic approach. Their goal is to make sure antibiotics can continue to be effective in both animals and humans and encourage responsible use of antibiotics. In the United States, the government has taken an ambitious initiative to combat the threat of antimicrobial resistance, as it has established a U.S. national strategy for combating antibiotic-resistant bacteria. This works to increase efforts to slow the spread of resistance, improve both the use and reporting of antibiotics, increase research on new antibiotics and alternatives, respond to threats to public health, increase the detection of resistance, and make infection control measures better. There must be more of a global effort in both developed and developing countries to combat AMR in food-producing animals. Educating the public and food workers about safe handling of food, methods of prevention, and safe contact with animals are all important measures to take as well, all in an effort to protect public health. Thank you.